don't fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey, and welcome to another session of Tarka Say It Again. And today we have with us a guest. His name is Darius Ford. And he's going to talk to us today about his journey, or from poverty to success. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to him so he can let us know what that looked like for him as a young child to current.
Well, hello everybody. Once again, as Ms. Williams stated, I'm Darius Ford. Everybody called me Coach Ford. Basically, I grew up my first 7 years here in Orlando, Florida. My mom moved to Tampa, Florida with my older uncle, which is my mom's older brother. Single mom.
Okay.
Dad was never in the picture. He moved on, went to school in Texas, and never came back.
Okay.
When I was 7. Growing up in Tampa, we lived in low-income housing. Some of you may call it projects, but we call it low-income housing. At the time, growing up in the Belmont Heights area in Tampa, that was the 5th worst housing projects in America.
Wow.
In the late 80s.
Wow.
We're talking about 86, 87, 88, 89. Growing up in that type of environment, sports was key. Okay. I know a lot of people say education was key, but for us, it was sports. Sports was my survival. My family members and friends who grew up in that area, that was our survival, was sports.
Kind of like your outlet.
Yes, our outlet.
It kept your attention.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Education was second to us until we got a little older, and we realized that living in low-income areas, of course, you see prostitution, you see drug addicts. People are always trying to get at you to make you turn to the dark side. Mm-hmm. Prostitutes offering their bodies for a certain amount of money. We're young kids, so, you know.
And they just, sorry to cut you off, so were they just randomly coming up to you and asking you to do favors for money and stuff? And I'm saying that because just last week we had someone that was on the podcast, and that was kind of like part of his story of how he got started with substance abuse, because a prostitute came up to him and asked him if he wanted to use drugs. So.
Yeah. One incident was every week, end of the week, my mom would give me $5 to have for the week. Mm-hmm. And that money we can use for candy and whatnot. This lady came up to me and said, "How much money do you have?" Me being 12-year-old, I'm like, $5. Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Well, you can have all of me for $5.
Wow.
Me not knowing that she was a prostitute.
Wow.
Until later on when I found out that she was. But no, I didn't partake in anything of me giving her the $5 for her whatever services she was going to give to me. But I'm an 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid. Being exposed to those type of things and seeing dead bodies, people being shot. One of my best friends got shot, named Kevin Limehouse. Rest his soul. Mm-hmm. He was killed. So these are different tragedies that I had to face growing up in the low-income housing, not having much. Sports was my outlet. My mom put me in everything.
Okay.
I played football, basketball, track, soccer. Baseball was my main sport. So I'm really good at baseball than any other sport that I've played. Even though I played football collegiately and ran track collegiately, baseball was my better sport.
And that's a blessing that your mother took the time out to put you in those different sports so that you can experience them, and to keep you busy.
Yeah.
You know, instead of running the streets, you were playing sports and developing your skills. That's a shout out to mom.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
there
it
are
is.
some parents that don't. They allow those streets to raise their children, and the kids around the house, they're bored, so therefore the next thing is like, let me see what I can get into, because they don't have anything to keep their attention.
And it's very easy, Ms. Williams, to get into trouble when you're living in those type of areas, because there's so much going on every day, all day, even in the late evenings of the night, which we had to be in before the street lights came on.
I remember that.
So that was a big thing. And spankings or whoopings was the norm. And that kept me out of prison.
Right.
You know, my mom, spanking me or whooping me out of love, not out of hate or torture. So that helped me. Growing up in high school was a game changer. Got connected with a coach named Coach Ike Williams, who was like a father figure because my father was never around. Me being a black kid growing up with no father, male guidance, was very difficult for me because my mom couldn't raise me to be a man.
Right.
She could teach me how to treat women and teach me the right and wrong things around the house. But as far as being a man, unless you're a man, you can't help young kids like myself become a full-fledged man. So Coach Ike Williams took on that role. He was my Little League coach growing up. He was my high school coach at Hillsborough High School in Tampa, Florida, where I played football, basketball, and ran track. I had Division I offers from all three sports, which was rare back in 87, 88, when I was a senior. Going to Florida State, I started learning how education is really the foundation for success. For me, not being able to live in poverty like the people that I grew up around as a youngster. So education began to drive me over sports, because sports doesn't last forever, but education does. I realized that when I became a freshman in college. So that was the driving force for me transitioning from college to becoming an adult, because I knew that education would be the key for me to make money as an adult, because if the professional sport doesn't work, then what do I have to fall back on? And if I don't have my college degree, which I got it in social science, then I wouldn't be where I am today, which is a school teacher, teaching 12th grade reading, high school coach. I'm a mentor. I have my personal training business that I do on the side for inner city kids. I'm not even inner city kids, just kids in general. Just trying to get better in that particular sport that they want to play. So I'm giving back to the community, because the community, which was at that time when I was growing up, was Coach Ike Williams. Okay. He was my community, and he showed me the way, along with my mom, and this is the product of those instruments in my life. Along with other coaches, other teachers at my high school were really instrumental in my success and understanding that the more you learn, the better human being you'll become. So I consider myself now, at 55 years of age, a Renaissance man. And what a Renaissance man is, an individual who can really adapt to any environment. He can speak on pretty much any topic to a certain extent. And that's just who I am. So I'm very happy where I am. I'm living comfortable. I don't have to worry about where my next meal is going to come from. I'm a father of 3. I have a son and 2 daughters. Of course, I love them to death. And I've shown them the way of how to be successful. No, they didn't grow up in poverty like myself. Right. Because you don't want your kids to grow up in poverty.
You give them what you didn't have.
Yes, you give them what you didn't have, and you help them, and you build things so that they can have things when I leave this earth. Building things as far as inheritance, life insurance policies, things that we were not taught growing up in the inner city.
Right, right.
So we didn't know any of these type of things, investment properties and different things, or investing in certain things that will give you residual income, which means money coming in every month.
Right.
So these are the things that education has shown me, so that now my 3 kids wouldn't be in the predicament that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's just breaking those generational curses or
Yes.
habits. And we talk about addictive patterns all the time. That's what this podcast is based off of. So I like that you took your story and turned it into something that was better, something that was positive, and you giving back, doing your communal duties, sharing that wealth of knowledge with your offsprings. And guess what? In hopes that they'll do the same thing when they have children.
Yes.
So definitely, we want to thank you for joining us today on Tarika Say It Again. And is there any last word or phrase or statement that you would want to say to the generation?
Basically, just like I tell my students in my classrooms, and not in my classroom, my athletes as well, is what you put in is what you'll get out of it. Whatever work that you put in, that's what you're going to get. The results are going to show. So if you work hard, you'll see the end results. It may not come as quick as you want it to come, because nothing that deals with success is like a microwave.
Right.
You put food in there and all of a sudden it warms up like that.
Right.
Life is not like that. You have to work and put in the grind and hustle for what you want, and never look back. Because if you look back, you're going to run into something in front of you that you may not want to run into. So always keep your eye on the road, work hard. You're going to have speed bumps in front of you. It's how you overcome and work around or over those or under those speed bumps. And you always need someone to help you along the way. You cannot do it by yourself.
Right.
It doesn't even work like that.
Right.
So if somebody telling you it does, no.
Right. And I like how you say don't look back. That brings me to the Bible, and where you had Lot's wife, and she was told not to look back, and she did, and she wound up turning into a pillar of salt.
Yep.
So I like that analogy. All right, you all. Again, don't forget to please like and share, and follow us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Have a good one.